Video games. For some, it's a mindless hobby. To others, it's an escape to an adventure. And much like anything in life, there are politics in the gaming industry. Thus, we have GamerGate. But what exactly is GamerGate? I myself may have an idea, but don't really have a grasp on it. On one hand, it sounds like a rebellion attack on bad journalism. On the other hand, it sounds like a bunch of feminists bashing males on their misogynistic views on games. To help me understand, I called on someone who can help me with GamerGate. Okay, so I am here with,
Clarence Paul.
and where are you from?
I'm from Maryland, Hyattsville.
Okay. Now, the reason I brought you in here, because like a lot of people that really don't know about GamerGate would like to know about GamerGate. So I would like to ask you, what exactly is GamerGate in the first place?
GamerGate is a consumer's revolt against gaming journalism, of movement against gaming journalism, and social justice activists trying to censor and castrate game creativity, art creativity.
So how has GamerGate affected the gaming community?
GamerGate has affected the game community in ways such as video games these days censoring themselves to appeal to the more sensitive members of society. And it has also built a community for gamers to come together and fight against a common goal, and that is to pretty much stop censorship in game development.
Do you think there's diversity in the gaming industry upon developers?
Upon the developers, as in the creators themselves?
Yes.
Well, I say yes, because the usual when people usually complain about diversity in a subject as far as gaming, they're usually talking about women. And I have seen a good amount of female developers and designers in the gaming industry in Japan, England, and America. But as far as ethnically, like white, black, Hispanic, I haven't seen a lot of those in the game development industry. No.
Okay. Do you think there's anything wrong with gaming journalism ethics?
Gaming journalism ethics.
Preferably how they rate scores or how they see video games.
Yes, I do see a problem with it, because ever since I can remember, the game industry, as far as journalism, has been taking bribes, if you will, for good game reviews. So companies like EA or Sega or Nintendo gives a game company, just hypothetically, for example, like Otaku, and they will give them free copies of a game or other perks for a good review, which isn't honest. And that's the key reason why GamerGate has started in the first place. Because a game such as Depression Quest has gotten good reviews because the developer, Zoe Quinn, has bribed for the reviews that she has gotten, which is positive, which has been positive.
So how did GamerGate start in the first place?
GamerGate started from a woman called Zoe Quinn, who gave sexual bribes for her video game called Depression Quest to get good publicity and good reviews from a list of gaming media sites. And how it got outed was her boyfriend, who she was cheating on with the developers at the time, supposedly, allegedly, was recording taking photos of their conversations, pretty much proving that everything they were saying about her doing with the developers, well, I mean, with the journalists was true.
Okay. Well, there are also other people in the GamerGate that a lot of people focus on. One who that is Anita Sarkeesian. So, who exactly is Anita Sarkeesian, and what does she do?
Anita Sarkeesian is a woman who has experience with the pyramid scheme deal. She has a degree in socials and how to sell herself, and she has made a I would say a documentary piece called "Tropes versus Women in Video Games," and she pretty much cherry picks scenes from video games that seem like it would be taking advantage of women in games. Like, for example, she takes Grand Theft Auto and she says Grand Theft Auto is misogynistic because of the fact that you can assault. You have the choice to assault a woman in Grand Theft Auto, or to assault a prostitute in Grand Theft Auto. When the reality is, in Grand Theft Auto, you can assault anybody, man, woman, old person, police officer. It doesn't really matter. It's a free opportunity game. And she also fights for the case that there aren't very many, other than a handful of of strong female protagonists in video games, and that's just not founded off fact.
Now, why does she believe there's not enough strong female lead characters in a video game?
She doesn't. I don't believe that she does. I believe that she's using this as a way to get supporters, to get fame, and ultimately get money off of her YouTube channel, from her Kickstarter. She started a Kickstarter to support her, for people to support her videos, and I think that's her main goal. I don't think she's really fighting, because there has been proof. I don't think she's really fighting for games, because there's been proof that she is not a gamer, and she hasn't been into video games until recently. And I speculate, and many people speculate, that she's just doing this because it's an easy market to rant about and get over on.
Someone like Anita Sarkeesian are bound to have a lot of followers, mostly what people call them social justice warriors. So who exactly are these social justice warriors that they speak about?
A social justice warrior is someone who crusades for social change, which isn't bad overall, but what they try to do is they try to force artists and designers in this situation to shoehorn in the quote unquote gay agenda, trans agenda, transsexuals in the games. They try to shoehorn ethnicities in the games, and women in the games, and force the developers, shame the developers into adding those things in the forefront of their narrative in the game.
So with all these social justice warriors running around, do you think gamers are now more sensitive than they were before?
No, not really, because a lot of gamers really, surprisingly, really don't know about GamerGate or Sarkeesian. It's more so of an internet deal. Some people know about it, and that you see out in the street. But if you go out in a gaming convention or animation convention, there's only about 20% of that group that you see that's going to actually know what GamerGate is. So, I know most gamers aren't sensitive, but the ones who do, I would say the ones that are aware of the issues, really haven't changed that much because most gamers are pro Gamergate and don't really believe in the narrative that sexual objectification of a character is bad, sexuality in a game is bad, or jokes in a game is bad. So I would say no, it hasn't changed a lot of gamers, but there is a certain sect of gamers that are, I guess you could say, a little bit more sensitive now.
You see a lot of people trying to bring in the gay agenda, like you said, but as far as I'm concerned, I don't see a lot of people, asking for more black lead characters, male or female, in a row. Do you think that's on the game developers, or you think that's on us?
I think it's on us. I really don't think a, say a white or Asian developer is obligated to make a game where a black or Hispanic or Indian is the protagonist. They can do that by all means if they wish, but they are by no means obligated to.
So, do you think the black lead protagonists that we have represent us the right way?
For the majority, they keep close track on when they develop characters. They keep it on ethnic character. Like when they have a black character, like for example, Tekken's Eddie Gordo is based around Brazilian capoeira fighting, and most of the black characters I see are similar to that. They're very ethnic, very either their street or their island culture. But there's very few American Americanized black characters, and that's not a problem really. But they're definitely. I don't think we're as well represented as we could be.
Okay.
Because just based off of the lack of characters that are there, most of the black characters that are in games are usually jock-ish or in a fighting game, and very they're very vague, have very vague story because it's a fighting game, and they usually follow a tribal or a cultural trope.
So, how do you feel about the Walking Dead video game Lee's character? How do you feel how that character was done?
I feel that Lee was done the best out of this because Lee was black, but he wasn't too black. Well, he's following all the stereotypes and the role. I mean, he sounded black. You can tell he was black by just listening to his voice, but it wasn't overdone. He was a well represented male character, black male character in the game, and I would like to see more of that, and as well as female too.
Okay. Last question. If you were to make a game, how would you want to make your game?
If I was making a game, which I'm working on the script by the way, if I was to make a game, I would add different ethnic backgrounds, but the majority of the cast would be black, just like most people do. When a certain ethnic group makes a game, most of the cast is usually that ethnicity that they are. I'll do the same, but I would make sure to add some Caucasians, Asians, Middle Eastern, and Native American in there for a good mix. especially since my game's gonna be a fighting game, and that's usually how fighting games do.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you.
That was much better.
Yeah.
Now you got the shooting about.
Huh?
Now